Okay, let's start the whole thing from scratch. Yesterday I told you I would tell you about high dynamic range images and raw images, and then I'll compare those to a normal image. So a normal image has a set resolution, and when I'm talking about resolution, I'm not talking about the X and Y, I'm talking about the color depth. So we'll say that you have 8 bits per channel, and so therefore that means you've got 256 steps in there. Right, remember that. So with raw images, what we're taking is the raw data from the sensor of the camera, and we're sticking that into a file along with all the information like what the camera thought the white balance should be and all this type of stuff. Cool. Now the raw data from the sensor is in a much larger number of bits per channel, and so therefore it could be 16 bits, it might be something more, I'm not sure exactly, I think it varies from make to make. But say we've got 16 bits, we now have 65,000. Shut up. Say it's 16 bits, we then have 65,000 roughly steps in between these 2 points, and then that means that we can see much more detail in the extremes, and we can do manipulations to that without losing too much quality. And that's what the RAW is really aiming for, is that we can do all these manipulations after taking the photo, and we can have the value of hindsight to see what it's actually doing to really get the best effect out of it. So that's all I'm going to say about RAW at this moment. Then we have HDR, high dynamic range images, and this is where you take a whole heap of things of the same shot, and then you combine those together with using a program. You combine them together, and you get something which is quite. You get to see all the patterns in the clouds. You get to see all the things close up. Really, they're really easy to see. And this is all. I'll just show you that one there. That one demonstrates it better. You can really see the patterns in the clouds there. So it's a little bit less natural looking, but it does mean that you can really pull up details and see details of everything that you wouldn't be able to see in a normal photo. And there are applications where this can be really useful. You can also make it look very cartoony, like that, which looks very cool, but isn't quite so realistic. So that presents quite an interesting thought for the film, in that, well, yeah, RAW and traditional JPEGs and that type of thing, they give sort of a set outcome. Everything is sort of relative, and that makes it well, and you get a certain outcome. You know what you're getting. High dynamic range makes it quite interesting in that now we can see a whole heap of things that we couldn't see before, and it also gives quite an arty look to it. Now, normally you do this with stills, but I'm actually pondering whether I want to do this with the whole film, so that the whole film will look quite arty, and that is going to produce some really interesting challenges. I haven't decided yet whether I want to do this. This is only something I've been considering for the last few days. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that at the moment. I'm just going to quickly sum up here. At one end of the spectrum you have the traditional JPEG, and with that, very little manipulation that you can actually do to it without losing quality. At the other end, you've got high dynamic range, and you can do all sorts of cool stuff to that. It's very, very time consuming, and you can get some amazing results and you can get some very bad results, and it completely depends on what you put into it and what you do with it. RAW is sort of in the middle, but very much towards the JPEG end, in that you can do a lot of stuff. You have the value of hindsight to get a better image, but everything is still relative, and you are limited by that. If you go and play with the curves to try and get the clouds to come up, you're going to be modifying this tree as well. So it's there's a lot of fun to be had with this. There's a lot of time to be wasted, and yeah, it's quite an interesting topic. I'm going to put up lots of samples of things I've been playing with up on funnyhacks.com, and then in a couple of days or so, maybe more, maybe less, just depending on how much experimentation I need, I'm going to put up a few different samples of what I'm thinking of doing, and then I'm actually going to start getting people's opinions. So this will be a chance for you guys to leave comments on YouTube or to email me or whatever you feel appropriate, and yeah, I'll just be interested to see what people actually think, what they like.